decide to help start the festival?
So when I was asked, well, it's funny. So there's been talk about doing this for some time here in Steamboat by a few different people, and somebody approached me like a year and a half ago, and I didn't want to do it because they wanted me to own it, and I've done that already, and I didn't want to. I know I learned through Hanuman that as much as I love this and the creation of this, I don't want to own it because my passion is coaching and teaching, and it takes me so far away from that. So then when they came back to me in January, when they just needed help just with the foundation on somebody to kind of keep them together, I knew that I wanted to because I would just be a consultant. But the reason why, for me, why I'm so passionate about doing it here is Steamboat's a really special place. Before I moved here 2.5 years ago, I lived in Boulder for 14 years, and I would frequent up here. And it's a very spiritual town. Like, there are actually, I don't know how many gongs in this town, like the gongs for sound healing, some ridiculous number. Yeah, there's a ton of healers here. We have strawberry hot springs. We have all these different things. So there's this beautiful ability for me, at least, to drop into spirit and really connect with divine energy. And in addition to that, there's also there's such a great community here. Like, people are really held and connected, and really they stay together. Everybody's tight and has a really great appreciation for the place, for each other. It's very family oriented. And so when I knew, and the women that asked me in, I knew what their vision was, and it was very much about consciously connecting. It was about celebrating life. It was about educating people and raising the consciousness of people, and that's just so aligned with what I do personally. And they were receptive. They were open to me. They were open to letting me lead them, and that's important too, I think, when you're going to come in, because I don't want to work with somebody that I'm push, pulling, and dragging, right, or somebody that I have to micromanage, and I knew I didn't have to with them. So that's a huge part of why I ended up saying yes, and now I'm so grateful. And the best part is like, I get to sit back and witness it. I'm still involved in it, clearly, but I get to watch. I know what it was like to create my vision, which was Hanuman, and watch it come to life and be like, you know. But watching them now be in my shoes like I was 5 years ago, it's like, and it's such a weird analogy, but it's like you know, your kid, you know, in a school play, or like achieving something big or something like that in life, and you're like a proud mom. Like, that's how it kind of feels. Yeah. But without being the mom, you know, I'm proud of them. It's a big thing. So it's
still family.
Yeah, it is. It's family. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So would you say the mission statement of the festival is around conscious connection?
Yeah. The theme for sure of this year is consciously connecting. For sure, I would say that. So that's like a huge mission, and the reason why it was important for them to make it more than just yoga is because you know, yoga is a wonderful vehicle. It's not the only vehicle, though, and so they didn't want to miss out on people that, you know, yoga's not their thing, or maybe they're intimidated by yoga. So they wanted to make it so there was, you know, dance and meditation and capoeira and stand-up paddleboarding and hiking, because also it's a way to experience this glorious land. You know, a lot of us get our you know, we feed our spirits in a lot of ways. And for some people, movement and moving energy is so powerful because it does allow us to move any dissonant energy out. In addition to that, also so is connecting with nature, and it's so healing. And so I think that was a big part of it too, is to invite in this piece of, I mean, to be at the base of the mountain. I always calling it being in like the bosom of like the mountain. It's like, for me at least, it's so healing. So I think that was a big piece of it too.
I feel like just being around these mountains, being at the base of the mountains, it's so humbling, but also so empowering.
Yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of this festival has sort of had this duality. A lot of the classes I've taken, like yours today with the masculinity and femininity, and then yesterday Gina and Justin's class, which was like crazy intense to begin with, and then like slow it down to this like sexy, healing, like nurturing vibe.
Awesome.
And I feel like that's sort of been in, like, I found those threads in like every class I've taken.
Awesome.
Which is really cool, because I feel like a lot of classes I take are sort of linear.
Yeah.
And they have an end goal.
Yeah.
And I don't see that as much here, which is really refreshing.
Yeah.
And seeing all the different teachers with all their own styles that are so uniquely themselves. So I've been at a studio for a few weeks where it's sort of fitting a mold.
Yeah.
And I can feel myself getting sort of tired of it. So I come here, it's like, oh, this is what yoga is about.
Yeah.
Like, this is what community is about.
Yeah.
This is why we're all so beautiful and awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful that I got to come here. It was such a last minute thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So happy.
I know. I'm so glad you did too. You know. Yeah. And you know, when we were choosing teachers, I gotta say that that was a really conscious thing too, because we it was important to have a balance of a lot of different teachers that were offering, like you said, kind of the balance between the two. Because I mean, we're even having a panel tomorrow on men and women, and just this again, this greater, deeper dialogue around to have healthy relationship. And so it was important. I mean, here's Justin, like this intense, like manly man, you know, and like that's so fun. And then you do have these very feminine women like that are coming in with strength and beauty, you know, but also this incredible softness. So there is incredible balance. And then you have Wade, he's definitely a man. He also has a softness in it too. And then you have somebody like me, I'm definitely a woman, but I have a really, you know, a strength. I mean, an intensity about me. I'm intense, you know. The way I teach is intense, and there's always, you know, purpose. And so we really did want to have that weaving throughout the weekend as well, because then it's accessible to everybody. Because like you know, a few people were talking about at the end of my class just now in the masculine and feminine classes that they feel that they want to be more aware of these two energies within them, the part of them that loves to be more linear and more logical and structured, and then there's also a time and a place to allow ourselves to be more fluid and be more nonlinear and not have a goal and just be, you know. And so I think that when we invite that in consciously and we give ourselves permission to step out of a box, we discover more of who we are. You know?
Totally. Something you said that really resonated with me was that like being equal in our, like being masculine and feminine isn't necessarily linear and half.
Right.
Because that's how it's viewed, I think, and that's what, or balance, I think is what you said, balance.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it doesn't sound.
Yeah.
But just, and that balance doesn't have to be 50-50.
Right.
Because I think that's, when you first talked about balance, I was like, I don't know if I'm 50-50, like, is that okay?
Right, yeah.
So I really appreciated that.
Yeah. And like I said in class, it's like, we're all so different. We're all so beautifully unique. And so, you know, to think that it's got to be 50-50, I think we would drive ourselves crazy, because, you know, if we're more Vata as far as our constitution, more airy, if we have more air or water in our astrological sign, and we're trying to be more of this kind of like structured and linear, I mean, you know, there's gonna be this internal fight. And it doesn't mean that we don't have it in us, we do, but we might not be as much of a person that has more Kapha constitution or earthiness to them, where they might be more structured, meticulous, and organized. And so that's another thing I love about this festival too, is that we're bringing in the astrology piece, we're bringing in all these other pieces because they're aspects of us. And so when we allow ourselves to be fluid, even in that sense of like, you know, maybe in my life right now, it makes sense for me to be more non-linear in this area of my life because I'm so linear and structured in this area. And then vice versa, like maybe let's say that our career, we're not really in a 9-to-5 job, and we're a little bit more kind of like, you know, there is more variety and change. So it's important for us to have more structure in these other areas of our lives in order to create that balance. So it's also being within the ebb and flow of life of going, what's going to support who I am in the present time.
those are really all my questions.
Oh,
You
good.
nailed it all right there.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
I really
thank
appreciate
you.
it.